Well, I'd start to say something, but Jason told me I couldn't talk anymore at the PAD meeting, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and try not to embarrass himself or me. So, well, I'd start to say something, but Jason told me I couldn't talk anymore at the PAD meeting, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and try not to embarrass himself or me. So, say something.
Jason, I got 2 minutes. Is that what you're showing?
Yes, sir. We'll give everybody a little time. I also just put the link to the board agenda in the chat function. So if anybody did not see that as part of the email that I sent out earlier, you can click there. Hey, Rachel, good to see you. Will you be presenting on behalf of Senator Paul? You're muted. Rachel, you are muted. We can't hear you.
There I am. Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Yes, I will just make some very brief remarks. Jason is not going to be on today.
Okay, that'd be fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to remute till it's my time.
Gotcha. Judge, we've still got several others coming in. We'll give it just a couple of more minutes before we get started. I appreciate everyone doing this for us this afternoon. About, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we noticed, it was actually after our January board meeting, we had another meeting in our room and we couldn't get the speakers and the audio equipment working in our boardroom. So happened to be that our amplifier for all of our audio systems went out. We got to thinking about it. That room, and this is hard to believe, but that room is 15 years old, and we figure that system pretty much stays on all of the time. So that piece of equipment has probably been running for 15 years straight, except for when we've had various power outages for any reason. So I guess we had gotten good use out of it. But Tim, our IT manager, was able to get a new amp ordered, and it was actually installed late Friday afternoon. But I didn't want to create any chaos and start trying to change anything around on late Friday afternoon. But the good news is we are back up and running at this point in our boardroom. So hopefully we shouldn't be having any other issues there. But Mr. Chairman, I believe, looking at my screens, we do have a quorum. So we are ready to, I believe, to move forward.
Thank you, Jason. We will call this meeting to order. It is about 2 after. Jason says we have a quorum, and so We'll call the meeting in order. We'll start off with the pledge led by Lee Wilson, the Lyon County Attorney, and also the invocation by Mayor Arthur Green.
If you'll join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for your love and your grace and your mercy. We thank Thee, Lord, for your protection for our communities. We lift up, Lord, those who are sick and afflicted and pray for their healing. And Lord, we ask for a measure of grace on our military as they're on standby, and we pray for peace, Lord, in foreign lands. Help us, Lord, as we have this meeting to make decisions that will serve our community. Forgive us, Lord, where we fail Thee, for it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson and Mayor Green. Appreciate both of you. The next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes. You should have gotten a copy of those by email. Give everybody a few minutes to look over those if you had not had a chance to do so.
Motion to approve.
Second, Jan Yance.
Got a motion to approve and a second. I didn't catch the motion. Was that Miss Lori Harper?
Yes.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of saying aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign, raising your hand, throwing up a red flag or something. We see none. Motion carries. Approval of the financial report. Miss Chrissy Carter, turn that over to you.
Okay. If you'll look at your packet for the financial report, they've actually changed the way that they're reporting this month. And there are 2 pages. The first page is the year-to-date revenue to budgeted revenue. We've received 38% of budgeted revenue as of 1/31/2022. And the second page reflects the expenditures to include service expenditures as well. We should be at 59% with the budget, and overall we're at 41.44%, and all line items are within budget. We don't have any questions.
I did put the new format for the financial report on the screen there. You can see, if you hadn't seen that in your packet, you can see the first page there as Chrissy referenced, and then the second page.
All right. Anybody have any questions of Ms. Carter? We need a motion to approve.
So moved, Lori Harper.
Second, Kevin Cotton.
Got a motion, got a second. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of saying aye? Aye. Opposed by like sign? Hear none. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Carter. Meeting schedule. I don't have it right in front of me. Jason, anything you want to highlight or in that list of meetings? Everybody should have got a copy of that as well.
Yeah, it is on the digital agenda. There will be a couple of items that I'll go over during my report, Mr. Chairman.
That'll be fine. Thank you.
Mhm.
Next is federal and state reports. Miss Morgan Alvey with Senator McConnell's office. Are you on?
I am. Can you hear me, Judge?
Yes, ma'am. The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. Senator McConnell has now made 2 trips to several counties throughout both the Pennyrile and Purchase areas following the tornadoes. One trip back in December and again last month to receive updates on recovery efforts. I want to thank all of the local officials who worked to set up those visits and all who continue to provide updates and feedback on the federal response. Our office is always available to try to help answer any questions you have, so don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. We've also put together a portal on the Senator's website, mcconnell.senate.gov, that compiles a list of federal tornado relief resources that may be helpful to share with constituents. Also, if you encounter constituents who may need assistance with a casework issue with a federal agency, they can reach out to our caseworkers in our Louisville office, and you can find that contact information on the website as well. Also, just want to briefly mention an unrelated item. If you're applying for any competitive direct federal grant programs, we can usually provide support letters for most applications. So also don't hesitate to reach out if you ever have any questions related to grants. That's all I have, and thanks again for the time.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Next up, we have Ms. Rachel McCubbin from Senator Paul's office. Ms. Rachel, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's good to hear from Morgan in Senator McConnell's office, and of course would reiterate the things that she said. We have been observing some really amazing work by our local officials, emergency managers, et cetera, on the aftermath of the tornadoes. And Senator Paul has been happy to go and see some of that firsthand. One thing I did want to report, you've probably seen this today, is that there's been an extension for the application period for FEMA assistance to March 14th. It was originally February the 11th. And while most of us would imagine that a person would rush right out to get the assistance that they need, just the overwhelming nature of a disaster of this magnitude, I think a lot of people are still trying to sort out what is the best path forward for them. And so if you know of any constituents that are dealing with issues and they have not applied yet, they have now until March the 14th. Likewise, with Morgan's comments, our Bowling Green office has caseworkers that are actively working with folks on that have been denied in the FEMA process. This is not unusual, and we are so happy to give some assistance there. The number in Bowling Green is 270-782-8303, or you can reach out to me. My number is 270-839-8953, and we'd be happy to do what we can one-on-one with folks who are dealing with the tornado. So I'll turn it back to you, Judge. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. McCubbin. Appreciate that update. Next on the list, we have Mr. Corey Elder with Congressman Comer's office. Corey, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Judge. I really just want to echo what they were all saying about just commending you all, the local leaders, for your work during a lot of this, uncertain time. There's no roadmap of what to do and how to do it, but y'all all have done a tremendous job handling all the situations thrown at you all. From a Washington issue, I wanted to talk about Congressman Comer's Postal Reform Act. It was a really large week last week for him on getting that passed through the House. He is the ranking member on the Oversight Committee, which has jurisdiction over the Postal Service. And so as ranking member on this committee, we really get a very important rural take when they're going to reorganize and restructure how some of the Postal Service operates. And I just can't stress how important that is to making sure that we have a rural input into that bill. This bill will hopefully stabilize the Postal Service financially, improve transparency and mail delivery, with the goal of saving taxpayer dollars overall. Congressman Comer was very excited to be the lead Republican on this bill, and he's looking forward to seeing it through the Senate. Other than that, Congressman Comer has been working on some on the budget. He voted no on a budget bill to extend the government funding from last year. He's trying to work towards getting a more responsible and timely produced budget that is more transparent and not broken, like just extending it that they've been doing for a good while now. But as always, feel free to send anyone to our office with any kind of federal question, some casework issues. As they mentioned, our office is always happy to assist. Thank you all.
Thank you, Corey. Appreciate you. Next, we have Denitra Henderson. Denitra from Transportation District 2. Are you on? I don't think she's on.
I don't believe she's on, Judge.
We'll jump right to Alex Cottle, Governor's Office, DLG. Alex, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, everyone. Great to be with you all. Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman was in the Pennyrile region just last week, visiting Caldwell and Christian counties, and announcing quite a bit of clean water program funding coming back to the Pennyrile, totaling over $3 million. She also announced a couple of discretionary awards for transportation funding as well. And certainly want to congratulate all the mayors and judges who've been successful so far in their cleaner water programs. And we know that wouldn't be possible without the staff at the ad. So Jason and Amy and Kyle, thank you all for submitting such quality applications and for all your hard work. I know we appreciate it. The governor was also in the Pennyrile region this month, and he was able to give out some keys to some new travel trailers at Pennyrile Forest State Park to some of our families that were affected by the tornadoes. And more of those will be coming each week. We'll continue to try to keep you all posted on that. And I'll highlight one thing that was listed on the important dates, and that's the DLG County Budget Workshop that the PAD is hosting next Thursday, and the 24th from 9 to noon. And I believe that will be virtual this time. So feel free to reach out to Jason and the staff there to get registered for that. You can receive up to 3 credit hours for your local official training there. And we're super excited to have Martha Jane King on board officially with us. And she's picking up Muhlenberg and Todd counties. And I'm very excited to be keeping the rest of the Pennyrile region and all of the Green River and all of the Purchase. So if you all need anything, please don't hesitate to give me a call or reach out to me anytime. And hope you have a happy Valentine's Day. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Alex. We appreciate you being on. Next on our list is certainly no stranger to anybody, any of us here at the PAD, and that's Miss Martha Jane King. Martha Jane, welcome aboard. And the floor is yours if you'd like to say a few words.
You're muted.
You're muted. You're muted. There you go.
Now, how's that?
There you go.
I said, as a former politician, I would not want to say a few words, Judge. So,
okay.
Anyway, thank you all. And I am glad to be on board, glad to have part of the Pennyrile District. Certainly no stranger to Todd and Muhlenberg County. And I'm just glad to be here. Y'all all know by work in the General Assembly how much I supported the PAD districts. I think that, you know, for rural counties, when we were little, the things that you leaned on were your co-ops for electricity, your co-ops for telephone. And then when the Pennyrile area development districts and the other districts came on board, there is no greater help to the rural counties than the ad districts. And I'm always going to be a big advocate for you guys in local government, always have been. So very happy to have a little part of the district. Thank you all. I'd like to have more, but I don't think Alex wants to give you up. He likes working too. So we might have to fight over you a little bit. Anyway, I do want to say that the February 8th meeting that was supposed to be at 10:30 with the governor for the clean water funding has not been rescheduled yet. I checked with Frankfurt this morning and they don't have an update on that. Unfortunately, when we had the bad weather come in, things got shuffled around and that meeting got canceled. So I hope to be able to have that soon. And as newly on board, I have not gotten up to Bremen yet. I definitely want to go to that area and see what's going on. And, you know, Mike could use a little help there, being chauffeured around a little bit. But other than that, I'm just new, not new to you all, but new to this part of the job. So I appreciate the governor's confidence in me. And I liked being with Alex and the lieutenant governor last week. The Mayfield event was a great event, and the things that she and the governor are doing for the Commonwealth is just wonderful. Also, great area development district. They're all good, but you know, you guys are a little bit special. So there you go. Thank you all.
Thank you, Martha Jane. Appreciate you being on. Welcome aboard. Good to see your face again.
Thank you.
Next on the list is no stranger to any of us, and that's Doug Taylor, my good friend from the Transportation Cabinet. And I hate to tell you, Steve Tribble, but I think he's going to announce that Christian County's blacktop money is coming to Trigg County. Doug?
The only problem, Judge, I don't see Doug on here. I think he was on here at one point, but he may have had to jump off of there. But,
well, he's probably glad he's not after I just made that little spiel about taking Steve Tribble's blacktop money.
Well, Jason, that's because he had to stop by here in Madisonville. He's here to present us with a check for both of those counties here in Hopkins County. So we appreciate you all supporting Hopkins County.
Thank you, Mayor.
Here we go.
Is there anybody, I'm sorry, Jason, go ahead. I apologize.
I just wanted to say, and Alex, I know you had said that the DLG budget workshop for ours was going to be virtual. They've actually decided to do ours in person, and it's going to be here at our office on the 24th, as Alex said. But due to the fact that we had the weather events, the tornadoes back in December, and I really appreciate DLG for making this decision, because outside of the purchase and ours, and I think Barren River, they're doing everybody else virtual. However, like I said, due to the fact that of the tornado, and honestly, I think they just like coming down here to West Kentucky. So they are going to do ours in person. We did send out to all of our local officials, all of our county local elected officials and treasurers and clerks, and to all those individuals that we do have a site set up to register. We're just trying to keep a close eye on attendance, just to make sure that we do have enough room here in our boardroom. As you would expect, with this being an election year, there's and obviously with the tornadoes, there are a lot of things that impact county budgets that deal with those two events. So I know it's going to be a popular training that's going to be held. So if you don't mind, if you didn't see my email with the registration info, you can also find that information on our website. We have a link on our website to register, as well as all of our social media platforms. I think that has already gone out as well. If it hasn't, it will very soon. But so just wanted to make that comment, Alex.
Thank you, Jason. Is there anybody else for reports or updates that I have looked over or missed? I apologize if I did so. If not, we'll move right to our reports. Area Agency on Aging and Independent Living, Miss Jill Collins. Jill, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm going to start with just an update regarding the tornado disaster assistance activities for our department. We are expecting an announcement later this week from the AARP Foundation. We have received a donation from the foundation that will be targeted to adults 50 and over who were impacted by the tornado in our district, and we are working on a process for individuals to apply for that assistance. We are expecting the AARP Foundation to release their media update this week, and once that comes out, then we will follow behind with our media release regarding the funds that are available and the process for individuals to apply. We've received some other donations as well from other individuals, other area agencies on aging from other states. We've received some donations from our software developer that we use. So those donations will be released this week as well, with the process for how individuals can apply for those. On page 11 and 12 of your online board packet, you'll find a list of the terms of service for our Advisory Council on Aging. You can see who those individuals are per county and those terms of service. You'll notice that on June the 30th of 2022, the mayor appointees will expire. Those terms will expire. So you can be expecting letters from us in the near future to either reappoint those individuals or appoint new designees on your behalf. So those will be forthcoming. We do have one vacancy in Livingston County that we are working to fill currently for our Advisory Council on Aging. And those individuals represent your county as it pertains to the activities of the Area Agency on Aging. We're going to be approving a new area plan soon, and so there is a process in place for that. And so at this time, I would like to ask Amanda Stokes, our aging planner and in-home service manager, if she would to go ahead and provide the update on the area plan.
Good afternoon. We're currently working on our new area plan that will cover fiscal year 2023 to fiscal year 2025. With this new plan, it will include things about our mission for services, the services that we provide, partnerships that we have with the community, service usage, outreach, monitoring, and performance plans. In conjunction with that, we've also had to conduct our comprehensive needs assessment survey. That was conducted in the fall of 2021, and we're working on compiling all of those results. That information will be used for current and future planning purposes. We also, with our new area plan, have a public hearing that will be scheduled for March the 9th at 9 a.m. here at the PAD office for review of that new area plan. That plan will be available for review on the PAD website starting on March the 4th, where the community and individuals can log in and review that plan. Following that, we'll be presenting that to our Pennyrile Area Agency on Aging and Independent Living Council on March the 9th for their recommendation to send on to the PAD Board of Directors for approval. The current deadline for that report to be submitted to the Department for Aging and Independent Living is March the 31st. The next item I want to talk about is a new opportunity that's become available in our area. The Department for Aging and Independent Living has partnered with the National Foundation to End Senior Hunger in order to provide a new, free, and innovative learning opportunity. It's a user-friendly virtual learning format that goes over information with media, interactive content, and PowerPoint presentations. That currently is being used by our senior center coordinators in all 9 of our counties to further their education. It covers things like communication, food safety, outreach, food waste, nutrition education, and Older Americans Act, and many more topics beyond that. So far, we've received positive feedback from the senior center coordinators who have been going through those online courses. Those are very user-friendly in that they can go through those courses at their own pace as their schedule allows. We hope in the near future to be able to expand those courses to additional senior center staff members as well. And our Aging and Independent Living staff members will also be going through those courses in the near future. The last item I would like to update you on is the 3G to 5G transition. This is something we've just started recently hearing about, but it's very important, especially for the population that we serve. We've been notified that as the networks transition from 3G to 5G, that many older devices will no longer work. This includes cell phones, medical alert systems, tablets, smartwatches, home security systems, roadside assistance, and 911 only cell phones. We do serve a large population of clients who no longer have landline phones and rely on cell phones only. And this is a concern because many of them have older devices that in the near future or already may no longer be compatible as their older 3G devices and everything is transitioning to 4 and 5G. This is in an effort through the networks to make improvements and expand beyond that 5G network in the future. There is a handout within your packet that offers specific dates for some of the major providers, including AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. The biggest recommendation is for people to reach out to their providers for whatever piece of equipment is they have, and reach out to them and determine if they need to upgrade those devices in order to be able to still use those currently or in the near future. The biggest concern with that is people who might have a medical emergency of some sort report and need to call 911, that would no longer be able to reach out for that emergency assistance if those devices aren't upgraded appropriately. So if you will, please share that information with the community and anyone that you think that would be appropriate with. We're trying to get that information out there so that we can prevent those type of issues from occurring. Thank you.
Good to know.
Judge, that completes the report for the Area Agency on Aging this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stokes, and thank you, Ms. Collins. We appreciate both of you. Next is our Community and Economic Development. Ms. Amy Froh, the floor is yours.
All right, I'm going to try to share my screen with you all. Got a couple of slides. Can everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Got several funding opportunities that are currently available that we want to let you all know about. Some of these are highlighted in your newsletter, so you can refer to that for this information. But I do have a couple of additional ones to add to that list. The first on the list is the Land and Water Conservation Fund. This is an annual grant program that is run through the Department for Local Government. These are federal grant funds that help us develop our outdoor recreation facilities in your local communities. We can do things such as campgrounds, picnic areas, sports and play fields, playground equipment, swimming facilities, and things of that nature with this program. The Land and Water Conservation Fund does have a minimum application of $25,000 with a maximum of $250,000 for that application. It is a 50-50 matching reimbursement grant program, which means that you will have to cash flow the project for that 50-50 reimbursement. The Recreational Trails Program is also run through the Department for Local Government. These are also federal funds used for the development or maintenance of our recreational trail facilities, and that includes both motorized and non-motorized trails. Again, same application requirements with a minimum of $25,000 request and a maximum request of $250,000. The Rec Trails program is an 80-20 matching reimbursement grant program. So that one is very appealing for you all to apply for there. Both of those applications are going to be due on May the 31st. And just keep in mind that any facilities that you put these funds into will require a deed restriction to be placed on that property, stating that it will be used for recreational use into perpetuity. The third one is the Recycling and Household Hazardous Waste Opportunity. These are programs that are to help you all develop or enhance your recycling and household hazardous waste collection event in your local communities. The Recycling and Household Hazardous Waste Opportunities are a 75-25 matching grant, and that application will be due on April the 1st. Similarly, the Crumb Rubber application program, these are projects that use recycled Kentucky waste tires that provide funding for landscaping mulch projects, poured walking trails, poured in place playgrounds, sidewalks, or other services where we can use those waste tires and not have those end up in our landfills. The Crumb Rubber Grant Program is a 75-25 matching grant program, and it is also due on April the 1st. The last opportunity that I want to bring for your all's attention is the 911 Services Board grant application. These are funds that are available to our 911 call centers in each of our communities. This funding program supplies equipment that supports the next generation 911 guidelines. This year, the funding categories are being focused on geospatial and mapping projects, new and improved 911 PSAP support equipment, and then host and remote projects. There is no match required for this program, but they do encourage at least like a 10%. Your applications do score higher if you put at least 10% match into those projects. Those applications will be due on March the 31st. If you're interested in applying for any of those programs, please feel free to reach out to any of our staff here in the Community and Economic Development Department, and we'll get you all started with those applications. As Alex and Jason have talked about, the 2022 County Budget Workshop opportunities will be coming up next week. Ours here at the Pennyrile ad is going to be held on February the 24th in person. If for some reason that date conflicts with your schedule, there are a couple of other opportunities on the 23rd in the Purchase region, and then the 25th in the Barren River region in Bowling Green, if you cannot make it over to our office on the 24th. And the last item I wanted to talk to you all about today is something new that we are doing in partnership with the Cabinet for Economic Development and the Department for Local Government regarding some industrial site identification and cleanup with our economic development coordinators. We've been working with the Cabinet and DLG over the last month or so to develop a program that will be presented to the governor and the Cabinet staff. Last week, the Green River Area Development put together a sample presentation, and this is what all of the ads will be using across the state to highlight our sites in each of our respective regions. So as you can see on the screen, they're asking us. The Cabinet uses a program called Zoom Prospector, where our economic development folks input each of our sites in our regions that are available for industrial prospects, and for consultants to go out there and look and see what is available in each of the regions of Kentucky. They've asked us to go in and update those sites, make sure all of the information is correct, as well as to add some information regarding any possible improvements that need to be made to those sites. After we go through that information, we are going to select what we're calling priority sites for our region. And I've asked each of our economic development directors to choose at least one or two sites in their respective counties to highlight. And these slides are for a site up in Webster County, but we'll be developing similar slides for our counties as well. So what we're looking at presenting will be sort of an overview, a map of the parcel. The Cabinet and the governor's staff has asked us to present the proximity to both regional and international airports, any interstates, river ports, and things of that nature that the site has to offer. And then we will also be giving information on the site specifically as far as investments that have already been made in the sites. What are the current needs for those sites? Are there infrastructure projects that need to be made? What is the overview of the site description, the topography? Again, the utilities that are there, does it have rail access? And then also some labor force statistics associated with those sites. We've been working closely with our economic development directors to gather this information. I've actually given them a deadline of this Wednesday to get that information to me, and we will be starting to compile the slides and information for those presentations. The Pennyrile ad is scheduled to present to the governor and the Cabinet staff on March the 1st. And we will be taking our economic development directors with us, along with our chair and co-chair and possibly some other executive committee members. So if anyone would like to accompany us on that presentation, just let Jason or myself know and we'll be glad to accommodate. Let's see. All right, let me see if I can get out of this. And the last thing I just wanted, as Alex said, I wanted to congratulate all of our communities that have received funding under the Cleaner Water Act over the last month. We've had several visits in the region from the governor and the lieutenant governor, and we're looking forward to some more announcements being made for some other counties here locally. So congratulations to you all. And Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Ms. Brogue. Appreciate that. Next up is Workforce Development, Ms. Sheila Clark. Sheila, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate that. We have a few items of information we'd like to share with you today. Some of the topics, of course, is just to remind you of some upcoming meetings. The West Kentucky Workforce Board will be meeting virtually on February the 23rd at 10 a.m. that morning. And then we also have a youth committee meeting on February the 16th at 1:30. And George Radford from Trigg County, Judge, is the chair of our youth committee. So far, he hasn't left us yet, so that's a good sign. And looking at the youth activities, after you've gone through your normal unemployment rates and some of the other data, you've gotten to a page that is a draft page for the youth request for proposal process. And we wanted to go ahead and get this before you today. We currently have 4 contractors in our youth programs, and there is an interest among those contractors to move forward with programs in the future, but we always have an open proposal process to look at other youth opportunities in our area. And these include technical skills, workforce general skills, work maturity skills, and also actually the work experience where youth are paid to work in private sector settings in our communities. We have a potential discussion of the RFP, just details on it, suggestions on it, in the youth committee meeting on February the 16th. We'll discuss it again at our full virtual meeting of the board on the 23rd. And at that point, we'll ask the board to approve the last format that we have of it to go out to the public either that day on the 23rd or the next day on the 24th. We have a bidders conference that would be scheduled in early March to talk to interested groups. It is a required Zoom meeting. After that, we would have the request for proposal due back in, and that would probably be the end of March. Then we would be looking at actual program review committee actions on those proposals that we would have received. And that is normally in mid-April. And after that, the board would vote again on the outcomes of that recommendation from the program review committee. And so we would have the final selection and any edits to the programs that are going to move forward into July 1. And after we would have that, hopefully by the middle of May, out to all of our potential providers that were selected and approved by the board. This is subject to change, and some dates on it have not been updated yet, but there will be a public release for the RFP. And as I said, I would look at that at either on the 23rd or 24th. If you have entities that are interested in youth programs, we can have a discussion with them between now and the release of the RFP. And then, of course, we go into that quiet time. But if you have questions, Julie Allen or Molly Deal can help you with those questions for your communities. Any questions on youth before I move forward? Okay. I'll flip over to the next page in the packet. And we just wanted to bring it to your attention because we got to thinking and we're not sure that the full board knew the details on the Department of Labor grant that the state of Kentucky had received for the disaster assistance following the tornadoes. We have received $8 million for the state. In our area, 1.5 to 2 million has already been obligated in funds. The state has up to 25 million available should those funds be needed and be spent. At this particular time, we're looking at a center in Mayfield because of the bulk of people there not being close to a career center. We're looking at our regular sites of Hopkinsville, Madisonville, and Paducah being in Muhlenberg County, being places of service to individuals. One thing that this grant does, it allows for humanitarian assistance and actual work experience with nonprofits as well as public entities, much like we did when we had the Project Ice and water in the past. Yes, they can help a city or a county clean debris, but they can also help make copies and file in an office and that type of assistance. The individuals that can serve in those capacities have to have been impacted by the tornado, by the loss of wages through some period of time. Sometimes we've had individuals upset because they thought that as long as they had a loss, meaning, damage to their home or their home being gone, then that means they should automatically be eligible for this grant. But that's not the way it works. You have to have had a loss or a reduction in your wages because of the damage of the tornado. And that is difficult sometimes to explain to people. But that is what we're trying to do. We're working with our direct service provider, which is the Purchase Area Development District, to make contacts with those 9 counties that were in the disaster declaration, and starting with the cities and counties there in that declaration to see if they have special needs. We'll work with you if you have someone that was impacted their wages or their work by the tornado and you think they might be eligible. We'll work with you to check that, or we'll work with individuals that are seeking assistance and job opportunities in some of those areas. There is a limit of about a year in that position. Sometimes we have had DOL to come back and give us an extension, but right now we're starting out assuming that that won't happen. But it is difficult in the communities to try to make people understand another program when they're dealing with all the FEMA, all the details and all those others that are out there spinning around in their head. So if you think there's somebody that needs assistance and is having a difficult time, then let us know, because we do have staff with the direct service provider that can go to that community and sit down with an individual and help them determine whether or not they would be eligible for the program. Are there any questions on that? If not, Mr. Chair, I'll let you have your mic back.
Thank you, Ms. Sheila, on all the updates. Appreciate your reports. Next is new business, monthly code of ethics report, and we have no report. And the next item after that is guest speaker, Mr. Mayor Kevin Cotton, City of Madisonville. Mayor, I know what you're about to discuss, and I wish you'd have been discussing this in 1988 when I had to drive back and forth to Richmond for 12 weeks. The floor is yours, Mayor.
Thank you, Judge. What they told me was the reason that they've never changed it is because when you were in the academy, you caused so many problems that they wanted to punish everybody else for years to come. So thank you for being such a stellar student while you were there at the academy, and we appreciate your service.
Thank you, Mayor.
So Jason asked us to just kind of talk a little bit about what the project is that we have going on here in the city. Most of you all are already aware of it. Most of you all have sent letters of support. And what I want to say is thank you for that. It goes a long way to have those letters of support. I think we had almost 40 letters of support. It is a Western Kentucky Regional Law Enforcement Training Center. and it is it's to give us the opportunity to save money for every local agency here in Western Kentucky. As the judge was mentioning, right now, all of us that have law enforcement agencies have to send them to Richmond for even just the recertification hours that are, it's a 1-week class. I'm not going to go into a lot of the details. I'm going to leave that over to Chief Brian. But I want you to know that when we went up with the legislative breakfast, Jason had set us up a couple of meetings. Senator Mills, Robbie Mills, has set us up a couple of meetings. The meetings went phenomenal. Every meeting that we had this past week built on another meeting. And when we left there, we had some really good feedback that this is a project that both the House, the Senate, and the governor's office are all supporting. DOCJT is supporting this project, and you all have sent us those letters of support to show that Western Kentucky is in support of this project. So I'm going to turn it over to the chief. I'm going to attempt to share my screen and let you guys kind of see where we're at on it, but I'll let him go into more detail about it.
Good afternoon. I know everybody's time is valuable. I'll do my best to keep this brief, but still give you the information that you'll need to have. If you don't already know, we've been working on this for about a year. The city was gracious enough to offer up a 20,000 square foot building and 30 acres that it sits on to us. And when we were offered that, we started having some conversations, and we realized that there was enough room in there to do something that had been needed in Western Kentucky for a long time, and that was to have a training center here for law enforcement. As you all know, currently we have to drive all the way to Richmond. Almost everybody has to for their in-service training. We have to have 40 hours of training every year to maintain our certification, and that trip is a financial drain to every community in Western Kentucky. So in this 20,000 square foot facility, we're going to have 3 classrooms, the biggest of which will hold about 75 people. We're going to have a TI simulator, which is an interactive video screen that officers can go through different scenarios, and it's interactive with a firearm, a taser, and a pepper spray canister. And those scenarios are changed every year, so they get fresh scenarios. There's also a 2,000 square foot mat room that's got 2-inch thick mats, so you can do defensive tactics training. One thing that has been a limitation for us for years is having a space like that that's readily available. We have to go to Richmond for that now. So having that here, we can have 40 to 50 officers out training defensive tactics on this mat without worrying about falling over each other or getting hurt. And in addition to that, on the 30 acres, we're planning on having a driving track and a shoot house. Our firing range is very close to it. So there's really not any law enforcement training that you won't be able to do at this facility. Like the mayor said, we went up last week and talked to several legislators on the House side and the Senate side, and walked away feeling pretty good about it. We had some very promising conversations. I don't know where it's going to go, but I felt like there's definitely a good chance that this can happen. And I think a big part of that was some of the letters of support that you guys have sent us. And if anybody hasn't had an opportunity to do that and you want to, we've got a template made out. All you have to do is cut and paste it, put it on your letterhead, sign it, and send it back. Jason Benson's got it, or you can get with myself or the mayor. We can get that to you as well.
I am having a hard time getting my screen to share for some reason, so I do apologize for that. Just kind of shows my
Well, I got some more information while he's trying to get that pulled up. So we did a cost analysis of training DOCJT just for Madisonville Police Department, just to kind of give you an idea of what we spend to send an officer through a 40-hour class over there. So counting lodging, food, fuel, the overtime that we pay them to travel to and from, we spend about $950 for every officer that has to go through a 40-hour class in Richmond. So for a 54-man department, that's $51,000 a year for us. So DOCJT provided us with a map that had a a list, the total number of officers in each county. So basically, the region that this would serve, there's about 1,600 officers, certified officers that have to maintain that every year with 40 hours. So 1,600, you figure 950, almost $1,000. You're over $1 million of savings for the entirety of Western Kentucky per year. And all we requested from the legislators was 1.5 million to renovate this building. The front of it, I don't know if any of you are familiar with it. The building itself is good. The front of the building is not. It wasn't designed very well. It's got some drainage issues, so it needs to be torn off and replaced. And so $1.5 million to renovate the building, and DOCJT is also on board with this. They've been down here and been through the facility, and they like it. They love the project. They have vowed to commit 4 full-time officers to the Madisonville site pending approval, and that was in the governor's budget this year. We have asked for it to be in the Senate's as well because they haven't filed their bill yet. So it's looking really good for this project. I think everybody sees the need. They fully support it, and any of you that have given us letters, I just want to reiterate that. Thank you for your support, this far.
And it's truly going to be a regional project that we're going to have a lot of support on, as far as just you all making those phone calls to the OCJT to let them know, hey, this is going to benefit Western Kentucky. It's going to be partnerships that we hope that we're going to be able to make with both the community college and Murray State University. I know, Chris, you're coming up in a few weeks. It's going to be huge for Western Kentucky, and we appreciate you all giving us the opportunity to be a part of it and to hopefully bring this to fruition. But we'll answer any questions that you have. And I'm sorry that we couldn't get you any shots. For some reason, my MacBook doesn't like to share the screen. So I'm sure it's Jeff Bell with my IT department not letting anybody have anything on my computer. So, but we'll answer any questions you got.
Mayor Cotton.
Yes, sir.
Curtis McGee, Middleburg County, and I really appreciate you all addressing this and the amount of information that you've provided. I graduated from that academy in 2012, February of 2012. And one thing you can't really put a price tag on is the experience that our men and women are having especially when they leave down from Paducah, but even from this area. You're looking at a 3-hour drive to get back, 3-hour drive, of course, to come home. And the academy training is relatively difficult. And we have a lot of young men and young women that are starting the academy, and many of them don't finish, not necessarily because it's so difficult, but they leave home on or on Sunday evenings, that is, to go back to the academy. They've got 3 hours to think about what awaits them. And I think if it was an easier drive, we would see a lot of our participants complete that academy training. So I think it's a great ideal. Economically, it's great, but just for practicality, I think it's a superior option for Department of Criminal Justice.
Thank you, Curtis. We appreciate that. And hopefully this is going to turn into even more. The DOCJT is committed to expanding the academy as a whole. And so our goal is to try to capitalize on that and continue to expand on doing more with our center than just the research hours.
And yeah, and I'd understood that as well. And I think that ultimately should be our goal, is to get it where our men and women could go through those weeks of, I don't know what it is now, maybe 20 weeks or something like that, but to get it to where they could go through that academy and have the consistent training that is offered in Richmond, I think would be phenomenal.
Anyone else?
Judge, we appreciate the opportunity. Jason, thank you very much. If there's anything we can answer, please reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you out with that. If you want to come see the center, if you want to see the drawings, just shoot me an email. We'll try to get that out through the West Kentucky Coalition as well. We have a little packet that we put together just for us, but we'll try to get that out to everybody.
Mr. Chairman, Arthur Green, the mayor mentioned sending texts or making phone calls. Could you provide a list of phone numbers or text emails of people we need to be contacting so we can help make those contacts?
Mayor, did you catch that?
I did.
Okay.
I think the answer to that is yes. I think we can work together to get that list out. You know, we had some really good discussions with Representative Petrie and then also with Senator McDaniel, both of those of which are working on the budget. And definitely need to get them in that list as well as we get that out. But we can work with you all to get that list out. Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor, I've seen a question on here for you or Chief Brian, one of the two. What's the address of the building that's proposed to be remodeled?
Judge, it is 755 Industrial Road in Madisonville. So it's in the city limits, but it's on the western side. It's about a 5-minute drive once you get off the interstate.
Right.
It used to be it's right now it's called the MTech building. It was owned by Economic Development for a long time. A lot of us have been there. It's got a ugly blue front. We got a photo, wish we could show it to you of the way it looks now, and then we've got a rendering from an architect of the way it will look, and it's a huge difference. It's something that all of our communities, I think, would be proud of if they came up here or they sent their officers up here for training. But you know, anybody that's planning on going to the next meeting of the coalition, if we end up having it here, we're going to try to have it out there, and I can put all this up on the screen for you at that time too. So
sounds good. Thank you, Chief. Kudos, Mayor Cotton, to you and to Chief Brian as well for what you're proposing and what you're trying to do. And if, just like Judge McGee and the rest of them, is anything we can do personally outside of contacting our legislators, let us know. We'll be more than happy to help participate, do whatever we can, or attend meetings to help that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both. Does anybody else got any questions of Mayor Cotton or Chief Brian? Steve, good to see you again, by the way. It's been a long time. At this time, we'll turn it over to the director's report. Jason Vincent, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mayor Cotton, if you would like, you can send that information to me as far as the packet that you all have put together. You can email that to me and I'll send it out to everyone as well as any contacts we need to make it at any of the offices there in Frankfurt. So if you just send that to me, I'll send it out to everyone else. But thank you for sharing the information with us today. And of course, we also appreciate everyone, as the mayor said, submitted letters of support last week. I know that helped a great deal in the discussions that were had last Thursday. But in addition to making headway on that project, I felt we had a really good day in Frankfurt as part of the ADS legislative activities. We had a great group that attended the legislative breakfast, and as I said, made significant strides on several different projects. And a huge thank you to all those that attended the breakfast. And of course, speaking of legislative issues, I typically cringe when I hear that a bill pertaining to the area development districts has been filed, but I will say it's a little different story this year. On Thursday afternoon, last Thursday, House Bill 482, again, that's House Bill 482, was filed by Representative Fugit, which Representative Fugit is actually from East Kentucky, but the bill is co-sponsored by our own Representative Petrie down in Todd County. And a copy of the bill is attached to your agenda, but the bill does two things. It codifies the formula into state statute that allocates the JFA funding to each of the area development districts. For you all that have been around for several years, you know the conflicts that we've had over the years as it pertains to the JFA funding. So in about 4 years ago, there was a formula that was put into the state budget language. But because it's in the state budget language, that formula has to go in there every 2 years. So what this bill does is that it codifies the formula into state statute so that it doesn't it will always be there. It doesn't have to go through the budget process in the future. So that's a good thing. It stabilizes the funding for everybody. The second thing is that it pretty much doubles the amount of JFA dollars that are provided to the ads each year. And just as a reminder, the JFA funding supports the activities of our Community and Economic Development Department. And all of her staff work on each and every day for you all. So needless to say, we support this legislation and hope that you all do. I will keep you updated on how the legislation progresses as the session goes on. But earlier today, we were notified that, and it sounds like it's going to move fairly quickly, especially on the House side. We were notified that it's actually going to come up in the House A&R committee tomorrow, which Representative Petrie is chair of. It will come up before his committee tomorrow, and I have been asked to go up and testify on the bill. For those that you all that don't know, I'm actually the chair of our state association of area development district directors. So I will be going up for the 10 a.m. meeting tomorrow to speak on behalf of the bill. We do have a local official that will be speaking on behalf of the bill as well, and that's Judge Steve Henry out of Webster County, who's a member of the Green River Area Development District. I believe actually he's about to become the chair of the area development or the Green River Area Development District. So look forward to hearing what he has to say about what the area development districts do for him as a local elected official. So we're excited about this. This would provide some much needed funding for our Community and Economic Development Department, where we can continue to provide the services that you all have come to expect and get from us, and only enhance those services that we provide to you all. So look forward to that moving through the legislative process. And as I said, I will keep you updated on how that progresses. The other piece on legislation, and my good friend John Murray reminded me about this just a second ago. If you did not see, House Bill 475 was filed last week. Actually, I think it was filed on Friday, which is the constitutional amendment legislation. Of course, this is the revenue options for local governments. It's my understanding, per John, that this will be in the Constitutional Amendments Committee on Thursday at 10 a.m. and could be voted out on Thursday, and then it could receive a full House floor vote the following day or early next week. So keep an eye out on House Bill 475. Of course, that bill is supported by the West Kentucky Coalition, the West Kentucky Regional Chamber Alliance, and definitely a whole slew of others throughout our region. Again, that is House Bill 475. Also, many of you all may have seen, and this is about the I-69, the Ohio River crossing, but just a quick update. The bridge at Henderson, I'm happy to report that there are some pre-construction activities that are going to begin this week, which is a good sign that things are moving forward with that important project for our region. This pre-construction work really contains items like geotechnical drilling, surveying, and some tree clearing. But and we expect full construction, at least on the first section of the approaches, will begin this summer. But it's good news that there is some work that is actually getting started on the bridge. I know that's something that we've been talking about for a number of years. Just a couple of meeting reminders. The chairman has already mentioned the meeting list. We've talked about the county budget workshop. I don't think there's anything else we need to chat about there, but I did want to say that we do have a good group going to DC next month. We're in the process of scheduling those meetings with our congressional reps, but I wanted to let you know that our group will be in DC March the 13th through the 16th, which mean in that falls on the second Monday of next month. So we will be canceling our March board meeting due to the fact we'll have a lot of folks in DC next month. But those of you on our executive committee, we will have a couple of items of business to take care of. So we will plan an executive committee for some point next month. I don't have a date set for that just yet, but I will be in contact with you all in the near future to set that date. So just remember, we will not have a full board meeting in March, but we'll have an executive committee meeting. And then finally, Mr. Chairman, I did want to draw everyone's attention to this month's newsletter. As Amy has already mentioned, and others, that the Pennyrile region received lots of positive information over the past month, of course, which in my opinion, we deserve some good news. But I especially want to say a word of thanks to the governor, to our legislators for making the much needed investments into our region's infrastructure needs. You'll see more information about all the awards that have been made over the past month. And as Amy said, we understand that more are coming our way. So stay tuned for that. One last thing, I did want to say congratulations. And I think I saw her on here earlier, Alicia Sutton here at our office. She's a proud new grandmother. And so congratulations to Alicia. And Mr. Chairman, that's all I have unless there are any questions.
Jason, you got to be mistaken. She's not old enough to have grandchildren.
I agree.
Congratulations, Alicia.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the board this afternoon? If not, I just want to say thank you all for attending and being here. Thank to each and every one that had a report or gave an update. Thank you all. Judge Cribble, really good to see your smiling face. Now we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion by Mayor Cotton. I'll second that motion.
Second motion.
Got a motion and a second. We stand adjourned. Thank you all once again.
Thank you all. You all have a good